أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمثابنا الحسين عليه السلام. My dear viewers, brothers, sisters, lovers of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the final episode of the 10-night series of Karbala's Inspiring Spirits, where every episode we are learning about particular attributes that is related to a particular personality that we see in Karbala. Alhamdulillah, as you have seen over all these episodes, I've had some amazing guests join me reciting poetry, nohas, latmiya, and tonight is no exception. Tonight I have my dear brother Raza Abbas Rizvi joining us for the topic entitled Learning Tawakkul from Hussain alayhi salam. Raza, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Imran.
How are you, my dear brother?
Alhamdulillah, very well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, your du'as. Thank you for taking the time to attend. I know these nights of Muharram are busy with majalis, yet you've made the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your service, accept and bless you, your family, your parents, for raising an individual like yourself who is drowned in the khidmah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So as per the previous episode, the first thing I will ask is, when you hear or think of the name of Hussain or Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, what goes through your mind? What goes through your heart at that moment?
Such a simple question, but such a vast answers needed to reply. For me, Imam al-Hussain is everything. He's life. He's a teacher, a friend, a guide. He's someone you can't, it's difficult to put into words. He's everything. It is very difficult to kind of explain what he means to you. He's everything. Without Imam al-Hussain, I wouldn't be a fraction of what I am today. Everything I do in life, you have your parents, friends, you have your close ones that you always go to, but Imam al-Hussain is someone that's even closer than my own parents.
SubhanAllah.
And I've got that best friend kind of connection with him, and I'm just blessed to be connected in some way with him.
Absolutely, and this is something we mentioned in a previous show as well. We're very lucky to have Imam Hussain, or we have the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam in our life that we can hold on to,
absolutely,
gain lessons from.
Absolutely.
And I think this is, when you mentioned about Imam Hussain being a teacher for you, there are, in majalis, the whole year round, even during non-Muharram times, any alim or any lecturer who would want to teach us something, they'll say, any lesson you want to learn, look at Karbala.
Definitely.
And who's at the center of Karbala is Imam Hussain, right? And it's through him so many lessons emerge that inshallah we'll be discussing throughout the show. But with your permission, I'd love to start the show with a recitation from yourself. And if it's something in Urdu, just a little translation or a summary of what you'll be reciting, it'd be an honor to listen to.
Absolutely, thank you. So this poem is in Urdu, it's a marsiya. This is written by Shaheed Sibta Jafar. Now, Shaheed Sibta Jafar, just a quick little brief about him, is someone he's changed my life. He's just an example, a modern example of what someone should be in terms of when you're serving Imam al-Hussain. He was a poet, social worker, advocate, lawyer, everything you can think of. He achieved very high levels, but lived very simplistic life.
Absolutely.
He was gunned down. He was martyred in Karachi for his service. This poem, what Shaheed Sibta Jafar said about this poem is, one day the first time when he arrived in the holy land of Karbala, it was night time. And between the two golden minarets of Imam al-Hussain, he saw the moon, the full moon. And he said he sat in Bain al-Haramain, and a few lines of poetry that just came from the heart, he just put that pen to paper.
Amazing.
So just the chorus, for example, the translation of that is, O moon of Karbala, you witnessed the greatest individuals descend on this land. And then he goes on to say, keep a fresh, cold gust of wind going on this land for eternity, because the people who lie here are the loved ones of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. So that's just a little bit, and then the verses, they're of different individuals. So recite Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjil farajah.
Karbala ke तूने اے چاند کربلا کے، اے چاند اس زمین پر رکھیو ہمیشہ ٹھنڈک، سوتے جو ہیں یہاں پر زہرا کے ہیں یہ پیارے، اے چاند حر اور حبیب جیسے جانباز اور احبا مارے گئے یہیں پر، انصار شاہدین کے، اے چاند کربلا کے، بازو کٹے یہیں پر عباس با وفا کے، اذن وغا نہ پایا، پانی بھی لا نہ پائے، اے چاند گردن چدی پسر کی، بازو چھدا پدر کا، دونوں تڑپ تڑپ کر پیاسے جہاں سے گزرے، اے چاند کربلا کے، تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے، اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے، اللہم
صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Absolutely beautiful. No words, mashallah, man. You know, we've met a few years ago now. We haven't seen each other, and I remember you reciting, and subhanallah, your voice has improved, and
thank you so much.
It's come such a long way. Amazing, through the blessings of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, may you always be blessed, and may you always keep reciting, and in the service of the Ahlulbayt, and inshallah that passes on to your children.
Thank you so
as
much.
well. Inshallah. Ahsantum. So taking the conversation of Imam Hussain, you know, we've done the 9 nights of Muharram. This is now the 10th night. Tomorrow, you know, we will be in the majalis of the day of Ashura, Sham Ghariba, and we've learned so much now through the majalis about Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. And the one thing that sticks to my mind is the very topic of today's discussion, is the tawakkul of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. To have that trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is something that we can relate into our life too, very, very much, right? Now, if you think about it, Imam Hussain alayhi salam knew where he was going, right?
Absolutely.
Imam had that knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with that knowledge. Yet he still went, right? A normal human being, right, would never go. Let's be honest. You know that you're going to go to your end. And not just a normal end. You're not just having like a heart attack and going.
Yeah.
You're getting slaughtered, right?
Your family, your friends.
Your family are there, right?
Yeah.
It's a humiliating thing to get done to you. It's not nice. Yet Imam Hussain alayhi salam went. Now, what does this tawakkul mean? You know, there's tawakkul of different levels.
Yes.
You know, so when you see this, what does that resonate with you in terms of the tawakkul, the trust Imam has with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
It's a great question. I mean, if you think about it, belief in God is a foundation and basis of religion, faith. You have to have that belief, and you have to have that trust in God. But what I find miraculous about Imam al-Hussein is there's one thing having faith, but having blind faith and faith to the level of God. I mean, to the point where one thing that I just want to mention, because we just coming across it now, when I don't want to forget it later. But for example, on the day of Ashura as well, when Imam al-Hussein went through so many tragedies and tribulations with his family and friends, during each and every one, he was complaining to his Lord, as if God was present to say, God, I've got the blood of so-and-so on my hands. This is what's happening to me. Braze them and make them accountable for what they've done. So I think Imam al-Hussein, the tawakkul he had, if we can even gather a fraction of what he had, we would be more than successful. It's, you know, for him to go through that and still rely on God and have that satisfaction inside is nothing less than a miracle.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not, and that, I mean, that's one thing where he knows that he's going to his death. Okay. Now, say for example, you know, you have a family, I have a family, and you know that harm is going to come either to you or to your family. You'll say, take me, I'll go, 100%.
Yes.
But Imam Hussein not only had to do that, but he had to know that his women and his children were going to get humiliated across the streets of Kufa, Sham.
So true.
And yet he still went. And we would not go, let's be honest. We would never make that decision to actually say, I mean, you know what, Ya Allah, we're going to do this.
So true. I mean, it's absolutely, as you said, sacrificing yourself, that's difficult. But you know what? If push came to shove and someone said, Imran, you have to do this for so-and-so, for this ultimate cause, you would say, it's only me. No problem, I'll go for it. But if someone said to you, and we're fathers, so we know, if someone said, God forbid, our children, we have to take them, or you have to sacrifice them, never. It's not even a question that will consider your mind. As a father, you think about it, your main primary role is to protect your children, look after them. Not just that Imam Hussein gave them, but the way in which he gave them, which was, nafsul mutma'inna. God was more than satisfied to say, Hussein, you've given enough. Return to me now. And Imam Hussein gave and gave and gave and gave. You know, it's crazy because whenever we mention this, and Imam Hussein's name, going back to your first question, it chokes me. And it just, you think how, when you actually sit down and think about it, we always think about the physical torment Imam Hussein went through. But if you just focus on the mental and the psychological bit of it as well, for example, you can imagine in the heat, it's 31 degrees today in London, it's hard, you've got to have water, you're struggling. Imagine Imam Hussein 40, 50 degrees in Iraq, wearing the armor. He's reaching the river Euphrates. He conquered it numerous times. But then they started attacking the ladies. Can you imagine? Sayyidah Zainab. He had to return back. Just the mental torture he endured as well is crazy.
And I think now more than ever, and especially in the West, we are so aware of mental health, right? We're so aware of how, you know, it's so debilitating. You know, you can't function. Agreed. Say if you broke your leg, fair enough. It's bad. You won't be able to walk. But if your mental state is gone, you can't get out of bed.
Right, absolutely.
You can't see anything good that's in front of you, right? And this is again what people will relate to Imam Hussein. They'll say that, you know, physically, as you mentioned. Again, it's a very good perspective because people don't look at that mental health, mental side of things. You know, and you can't say that Imam would ever be affected by it because obviously that tawakkul is so strong,
unshakable.
It's almost like, you know, like Bibi Zainab says as well, like, I see nothing but beauty. So if, you know, if the sister is saying that, you know, the brother is going to be like even more, like, you know, I'm made for this. Ya Allah, you know what, take whatever. This makes me happy. That's really, it's insane in terms of from our language. We would not be able to hack that. And so, you know, you get people nowadays who, unfortunately, you know, myself included, sometimes you lose that tawakkul, you lose that faith in Allah because of tests, trials, tribulations. There was one, like an example, one of a lecturer gave that I heard, which is really good. It really resonated with me in terms, and it was talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tests and trials, right? And often we think, oh, why me? This is so, again, how much do I have to go through, right? Now, if you think of it this way, like when you're in school, like, you know, from year 7 to 8, you have an exam, right? You pass it, brilliant. Year 8's exam is going to be harder, but you're going to pass it. Well done. 9, 10, uni, it's going to get harder and harder, right?
yeah.
You don't expect it to be easier, right? So why do you not expect it the same with Allah? And in fact,
true.
when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a harder test, that means you did well on the previous one, you passed.
Absolutely.
So you're doing good.
Absolutely.
So
You apply that same principle with God. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to know that the harder the test, but it's a difficult thing to conquer in your head.
Definitely.
The harder the test, the more Allah loves me.
Definitely.
And the more I'm doing right in life. Because how many times do we go through life thinking, am I doing something? Am I doing right? We don't know, right? Until we finish.
Yes.
And then, you know, Munkar and Nakir will come and be like, look, this is what you've done.
Exactly.
Then we'll know. But until then, are we doing right? But this is such a good indication of knowing how well you are doing in life if your tests get harder. If you don't have tests, worry.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you look around in today's society in the West, how many people are, for example, billionaires, financially more than stable, happy, they're going on holidays all the time, they've got everything. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having an aspect of that, but then you never see them tested in any way.
Yeah.
Everything's always going hunky-dory. You see, it's that typical Instagram kind of life.
Right.
But then, you know, you have to question that, hang on, I'm getting all these tests, these guys are not. Why? There has to be some sort of reason as to why certain people are and they're not. And it goes back to exactly what you say, that we just have to always remember that this is an exam.
Yeah.
From the moment we're born till the moment we die, to the moment we die is an exam. And when you die, that book is closed.
That's it.
That exam paper goes to God and He's marking how you did. It's so easy for us to go through something so small and straight away be disheartened. Yeah. Oh God, why is this happening to my children? I need this, I need that. For example, so many plans, even me, myself, I've made to buy a house and stuff. Yeah. Certain things don't happen. And at the time you think, I worked 6 months, you know, in terms of everything to get this across the line, and now it's not happening. Yeah. But then, you know, it just takes for someone to remind you that this is not the right time. Yeah. Something better is planned for you later. Yeah. Yeah. So we don't see that, and obviously we're human. We don't have that. The curtains have not been lifted, so we can't see. But we just always have to revert to Imam Hussain to say, nobody's test can be compared to his. Right. And if he acted the way he did, we're not saying, you know, God forbid, we're at his level, but we're his followers. So we need to sort of encourage ourselves and push ourselves to say, if something happens, God, it's your will. Yeah. That's
and just, you know, tell yourself, like, what would Imam Hussain do? Exactly. You know, I know with our dear Christians as well, they have a saying, what would Jesus do? Yes. Right? It's a very common thing. We can, with no harm, apply that. Absolutely. What would Imam Hussain do? Right? If you're in this test, think of Karbala straight away. You know, how much did he go through, right? He went through, you know, carrying bodies back and forth of his family. You know, he said that he had a broken back because of how many bodies he carried. He had the enemies laughing, right, at him. The women of his family were tortured. His thirst wasn't quenched. They were hungry. They were thirsty. He had so much going on that a normal person would be finished.
Can't comprehend it, yeah.
Finished. We wouldn't be able to hack that kind of thing. We just would not be able to. But when you ask yourself in your own test, right, which now can line up everything Imam Hussain went through and put your little minuscule test, you'd be ashamed for
exactly.
It's complaining.
Incomparable, yeah.
You can't, right? Yeah. And so that's where I think we can really learn from and, you know, realize that the patience Imam had, the tawakkul he had, the bravery he had, the courage he showed, the strength he showed in himself and his family against his and the sacrifice as well when he took Hazrat Ali Asghar out, right? All he went and asked for, he knew what was going to happen, but he went and asked for water. Why? So then they can't say that, he never asked us. He gave them a chance to do good.
Exactly.
Right? Hurmala, like we just spoke in the previous episode, Hurmala, when he was aiming that 3-pronged arrow, shook at one point. He didn't want to. He felt something's not right.
So it's so true, because even when you look at the text of Ashura, a lot of the enemies, for example, that's one example. Another one is when Imam Hussain was in his final moments on the floor and his soul was about to ascend to the heavens, they couldn't finish him off. There's a reason. We need to ask ourselves why. Think of it: 70,000. Let's say 40,000. Let's say 100. One wounded man, fatally wounded man. If you would have left him, Imam Hussain would have gone to the heavens. But why couldn't they finish him? The Umar ibn Saad, he had to pushes soldiers to say, why are you all scared? Finish him. There's a reason for that. Because they all knew inside that we know who this man is. And it's, you know, it's like you said, we just always need to go back to what Imam Hussain did and apply that same statement to say, what would Imam Hussain do in this in this situation?
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So 100%. And you know, even through Imam Hussain alayhi salam's life, you know, for example, in Surah Fajr, in the last ayats, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, in a way that, you know, whatever Hussain is happy with, I am happy with, right?
Yes.
And again, you see this in life. So when with Imam Hussain alayhi salam, take for example Rahib, when he had no sons in his destiny, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had written nothing for him. Okay, he went to, if I'm not mistaken, he went to either Imam Ali or Rasulullah, if I'm not mistaken, to ask, can you tell him, Ya Ali, Ya Rasulullah, please pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant me these sons. And they prayed and they said, look, it's not in your destiny to have sons. But go ask Hussain. Imagine. But go ask Hussain. Okay? Rasulullah, no. And again, forgive me, my viewers, if I've got this hadith wrong. But in a way or so, that's what had happened. And he went to Imam Hussain alayhi salam and he asked Imam Hussain to pray. And Imam Hussain did on his behalf, and he spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah gave him one. He goes, okay, tell him he's got a son. And he gave him 2, 3, 4, 7.
7, exactly.
7 sons to a man who had no sons in his destiny at all. True. But because Imam Hussain alayhi salam, again, this shows that connection.
Definitely.
You know, and again, we speak about this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we should have. You know, when you're at work and you want something from your boss, you want some time off, right? You go and ask him. You communicate. You speak to him. You don't just sit in your office desk and hope he's going to come to you and say, oh yeah, here, take 10 days off for Arba'in. You're not going to get that. You have to ask, right? Similarly, we have to ask. We have to communicate with Allah. Knows our intentions. Don't get me wrong, 100%. He knows everything. He's the closest to us in our jugular vein. 100%. But we need to ask, because when we ask, we build a connection.
Exactly. Like he says, you take 1 step to me, I'll take 70 or 700. I'm not sure what
steps,
it is.
Different narrations.
And I'll come to you. So that in a nutshell is it. But it's another example is Hazrat Hur, for example.
Yes, absolutely.
Imam Hussain, you just imagine if someone cut off the water supply to you in that situation, your kids are thirsty, and he was one of the main reasons why Imam Hussain was in that situation. Imagine if it's so easy. If we put ourselves in that situation, we would have said, never.
No.
You put me in this situation, you cut off the water supply. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
It's too late now. It's too late. You just go back. But that connection Imam Hussain had with God to say, hang on, this is not about me. This is about God's principle is of mercy, forgiveness. And Imam Hussain was the embodiment of that. So on that day, he wanted to, everything he did, it was for an example for today. So he said to him, he said, no problem. He said, you're a free man. You've asked for forgiveness. You understand what you've done wrong. And we can revert that back into our lives today. You do something wrong. It's not, people always think that, okay, I've sinned or I've done something wrong or I've come off the path. You have phases. And in this Western world, it's easily done. People get put off, especially the youth. Oh, it's too late now. I'm going to hell. No, you're not. If Hazrat Hur could turn his life around in an instant, it just takes one moment.
That's it.
A lot of our scholars say your whole life could be spent in sin. But at the moment when your soul is leaving your body, well, before it leaves your body, if you just have that moment of contemplation, or you from the bottom of your heart, you say, you know what, God, I'm sorry. I know you were there. I should have done what I needed to, but I didn't. God is all merciful. Who are we to say God is going to shut his doors on anyone?
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, these examples, you know, it's amazing because this is what happens when you talk about Imam Hussain. It just snowballs. Exactly. 1400 years ago, the tragedy happened, and today, you know, it's inspiring millions and millions.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you mentioned about how, you know, Imam Hussain was embodying the forgiveness aspect of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the beautiful Asma al-Husna, the 99 names. And it's there for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful. He says that you guys can become this. You can become. He goes, I'm giving these 99 names. You can embody them.
Exactly.
Of course, and that's what Imam Hussain alayhi salam and the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam, they aim to do that.
Absolutely.
And so should we, right? And you know, in every aspect of life, you can, for example, if you're a boss, if you're managing a team at work or anything like that, and someone made a mistake. Ya Rahim, Allah is Ya Rahim.
So
Why
true.
don't you try embody
So
that?
true.
Be merciful to
So
your
true.
staff, right?
So true.
Be merciful, understand that where they're coming from. And there's so many other instances that, you can apply those names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we definitely should.
100%.
So just as we come to the
Yeah.
close of the show, with your permission, I'll just recite a small
Absolutely.
noha, if you
Would
don't
be an
mind,
honor. Yeah.
and then we can have some closing remarks from yourself.
Yeah.
So this particular poem or noha is titled Shabir Ka Paigam, and it means the message of Imam Hussain and how we should continue that through, and it's our duty to carry that message of Imam Hussain Islam and keep spreading it, whether it's to tabligh. You have amazing campaigns like Police Hussain. You have blood donation. Anything in the name of Imam Hussain to get his message out there. We should continue, and this is what the kalam is about. So inshallah, with your permission, a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، ہم حق کو زمانے پہ، ہم حق کو زمانے پہ عیاں کرتے رہیں گے، کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کے ماتم کی صدا آتی رہے گی، عباس کے پرچم کی ہوا آتی رہے گی، یوں دشمن حیدر کو، یوں دشمن حیدر کو دعا کرتے رہیں گے، ہاں کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، پیاسے علی اصغر کی صدا یاد رہے گی، قاسم کی محبت یوں ہی آباد رہے گی، اکبر میرے جذبے کو، اکبر میرے جذبے کو جوان کرتے رہیں گے، ہاں کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، سورج کو بھی خیرات ضیا بانٹ رہے ہیں، سینے پہ حسن داغ جو ماتم کے سجے ہیں، روشن میری تربت کا، روشن میری تربت کا نشان کرتے رہیں گے، ہاں کرتے رہیں گے، شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، ہائے شبیر کا پیغام بیان کرتے رہیں گے، پر محمد و آل محمد
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Beautiful recitation as always.
Inshallah, we pray that all our ibadat is accepted, and thank you again once again for coming on.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate your time. And Raza, just before we finish, what would you say your final words would be for our dear viewers who have stayed with us for these 10 nights, and what can they learn from the tawakkul of Imam Hussain alayhi salam?
My closing remarks would be that please don't limit Imam al-Hussain to Muharram. He is a figure for the 12 months, for every single day, every minute of your life. He is there as a guide, a role model. Please use him, use his life as an example to better yourself, and serve him in whatever way you can. And most importantly, if you ever go through trials, tribulations, any problems in life, whatever it may be, always try. I know it's difficult, but you need to start somewhere. Try and revert back to the trials of Imam al-Hussain, and hopefully he will give you strength.
Subhanallah, thank you so much. So very well put. And a great reminder for us that no matter how difficult life gets, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, and He's always there waiting for us to listen to, inshallah, and give us His blessings that He's waiting to shower. We just need to call out, inshallah. So my dear viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, inshallah, for these 10 nights. We hope that you have benefited from the discussions. I know today especially I have, I'm sure you guys have as well, inshallah, from Brother Raza's words of wisdom. And inshallah, please keep us in your prayers. Please pray that all our du'as and our ibadat is accepted on these holy nights of Muharram. And inshallah, until next time, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.